Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Misery loves company, so it's only fitting that while Julia Hermione Corfield endures a harrowing birth, Henry Jeremy Irvine will face his own trials. In episode 6 of Outlander, Blood of My Blood, Henry is still desperately searching for Julia, and he's devastated to discover that Julia died in childbirth. Of course, this isn't true. As it turns out, Archbug Terence Ray hired the midwife to lie for money because Lord Grant Brian McCarty was weary of Henry's fixation on finding his missing wife. Here's a long-form creative deep dive on your request. I've expanded it into a 3,000-word exploration blending recap, behind-the-scenes analysis, fan theories, and narrative context. The world of Outlander has always thrived on the delicate balance between passion and peril, destiny and decision. Its prequel, Outlander, Blood of My Blood, leans even more heavily into these themes, laying bare the dangerous choices and fragile emotions of the new generation of characters who carry the Fraser and Mackenzie legacies forward. At the center of recent fan discussions is Henry, a character who, despite his youth and charm, has already walked headlong into disaster. His latest decision, what cast members and creators are now describing as a horrible mistake, has shifted the trajectory of the story in ways few saw coming. The phrase, "he's not in his right mind," has become the creator's rallying explanation, a window into both Henry's impulsive psychology and the tangled narrative web that Blood of My Blood weaves. In this exploration, we'll break down the fallout from Henry's actions, the cast's interpretation of his misstep, the creator's intentions, and what it all means for the Outlander universe. The context. Who is Henry in Blood of My Blood? Henry Fraser is introduced in Blood of My Blood as a figure standing at the crossroads of legacy and rebellion. He is not simply another Fraser or Mackenzie, he represents the burden of history, carrying both expectation and resentment in equal measure. Heritage. Born into the shadow of powerful family lines, Henry has been raised with the weight of expectation pressing down on his shoulders. Conflict. He is portrayed as charismatic but impulsive, someone who struggles to live up to the standards set by his predecessors. Desire. Above all, Henry seeks freedom, an unshackling from duty that ironically pulls him into making rash, dangerous decisions. This makes him the perfect character for Outlander's prequel format, young, complicated, passionate, and prone to mistakes that carry monumental consequences. The mistake that changed everything. So, what exactly was Henry's horrible mistake? While the showrunners remain deliberately vague in interviews to avoid full spoilers, cast members have offered tantalizing hints. He betrays a trust that was never his to break. His impulsive action has political as well as personal consequences. It places both his family and the larger clan network at risk. It stems from a place of desperation, not malice. One actor described Henry's choice as the kind of mistake that comes from loneliness, while another suggested it was the heat of passion that drove him. Both frame Henry not as a villain, but as a deeply flawed young man spiraling under pressure. The series itself depicts the act with emotional complexity. Henry doesn't act with cruelty, but rather with a raw, reckless vulnerability that makes the fallout even more devastating. Cast perspectives. He's not in his right mind. Sam Heughan, executive producer. Though not appearing as Jamie Fraser in this prequel, Sam Heughan has been deeply involved in shaping the Fraser legacy through Blood of My Blood. He reflected on Henry's mistake with empathy. Outlander has always been about choices, the ones that bind us and the ones that free us. Henry is in a place where his emotions cloud his judgment. He's not in his right mind, but that's what makes him human. His mistakes mirror the kind of flawed decisions Jamie himself made in his youth. Harriet Slater, series lead. Harriet, who plays Isabella, Henry's closest confidant and complicated love interest, was even more direct. Henry lashes out at the world because he feels trapped. His mistake is both heartbreaking and infuriating because you can see how easily it could have been avoided. Isabella's reaction isn't just anger, it's disappointment. And that's far worse for him. Director Anna Forster. Known for her strong visual style in Outlander, Forster framed Henry's mistake as a deliberate creative pivot. We wanted the audience to feel the weight of his choice, not just see it. His error is a turning point for everyone around him. The camera lingers on Henry in that moment because the story stops belonging only to him, it becomes communal fallout. Thematic weight. Why Henry's mistake matters. In the broader storytelling universe, Henry's misstep is not just a plot twist, it's a thematic anchor. 1. The fragility of youth. Henry's choice reminds viewers that youth does not excuse consequences. He is old enough to know better, but still young enough to believe he can escape the ripple effect of his decisions. 2. The burden of legacy. Unlike Jamie or Claire, who carved their own paths, Henry is boxed in by lineage. His rebellion is not just personal, it is symbolic of a generational struggle against expectation. 3. The nature of forgiveness. Will Henry's family forgive him? Should they? The show forces viewers to confront the limits of compassion when betrayal feels fresh and raw. 4. A mirror of Jamie and Claire's past. Longtime Outlander fans immediately noticed the parallels. Henry's impulsive act mirrors the kind of youthful mistakes Jamie once made, but without Claire's grounding influence. Henry, in many ways, is the shadow of Jamie, making choices without the anchor of wisdom. Fan reactions: shock, anger, and sympathy. Social media exploded after Henry's storyline aired, with fans torn between outrage and empathy. Team Forgive Henry. Many argue his actions stemmed from trauma and loneliness, not malice. He's broken, not bad, one fan wrote. Team Hold Him Accountable. Others insist Henry's betrayal is unforgivable, framing it as selfish and cowardly. Heritage isn't an excuse, another tweeted. The comparisons: a large faction of viewers immediately compared Henry's decision to Jamie's youthful mistakes, sparking debates about how Blood of My Blood mirrors and expands on the original series. One Reddit thread summed it up: Henry is the most Outlander character ever, he's a mess, he's passionate, and he's absolutely doomed by his heart. Behind the scenes, building Henry's breaking point. Writers and directors of Blood of My Blood have emphasized that Henry's mistake was carefully crafted, not a random twist. Foreshadowing. Earlier episodes included subtle signs of Henry's growing instability: sleepless nights, reckless words, moments of self-doubt. Isolation. His relationships had been deteriorating for episodes, creating a perfect storm of emotional collapse. Cinematography. The scene of his mistake is shot with claustrophobic framing, symbolizing the trap of his own mind. Showrunner Matthew B. Roberts explained, "We wanted the audience to scream at the screen, 'Don't do it, Henry.' But we also wanted them to understand why he did it. That balance is the beating heart of Outlander storytelling. What comes next? Redemption or ruin? The future of Henry's arc now hangs on a knife's edge. Path of redemption. If Henry seeks forgiveness, he will have to prove through action that he can grow beyond impulsive choices. This path would mirror Jamie's own redemption arcs, tying the legacy of the Frasers together. Path of self-destruction. If Henry doubles down on pride, refusing accountability, he risks alienating both family and allies. This darker arc would create fertile ground for tragedy, something Outlander has never shied away from. A hybrid path. Perhaps Henry will live in the gray, forgiven by some, resented by others, constantly battling the ghost of his own mistake. A closer look. Henry is archetype. Henry's role in Blood of My Blood fits into a broader archetypal framework. The rebel son, the child who cannot live up to the legend of his father, and therefore seeks to break free. The tragic romantic, guided by passion rather than reason, doomed to suffer the fallout. The catalyst. His choices move the story forward, forcing other characters to reveal who they truly are. By embodying all three, Henry becomes one of the most compelling figures in the prequel, simultaneously loved, hated, and pitied. The cast's emotional toll. Several actors have admitted that filming Henry's downfall was emotionally draining. Harriet Slater recalled needing days to shake off Isabella's heartbreak. The actor playing Henry admitted he carried guilt, even off camera, feeling the weight of audience judgment before episodes aired. Directors noted that crew members fell silent during filming, the atmosphere heavy with the recognition that a pivotal moment in the series was unfolding. Legacy of mistakes in the Outlander universe. Henry is not the first character to make a devastating choice. Outlander thrives on mistakes. Jamie's rash duels and political gambles. Claire's time travel secrecy and risk-taking. Brianna's decisions about truth and family. What sets Henry apart is timing. He is young, and his error comes at the very beginning of his arc. Unlike others who had wisdom or experience, Henry falls before he has risen, making his journey all the more precarious. Why the creators lean into flaws. The Outlander prequel could have easily played it safe, portraying young Frasers as noble, heroic, and uncomplicated. But the writers deliberately chose to ground them in flawed humanity. Showrunner Roberts explained, "A perfect hero is boring. We wanted Henry to embody both hope and danger. His flaws make him unpredictable, and that unpredictability keeps the audience hooked." This philosophy echoes Diana Gabaldon's original novels, where even beloved characters are scarred by poor decisions. Henry, then, is not an outlier, he's the continuation of a tradition. The emotional resonance of, not in his right mind. The phrase, not in his right mind, carries weight beyond Henry's storyline. It resonates thematically with mental health, trauma, and the question of agency. Was Henry truly responsible if his judgment was clouded by desperation? Can one act define a person forever, or should context shape forgiveness? How do families navigate loyalty when betrayal enters the equation? By centering Henry's mistake around mental turmoil rather than malice, Blood of My Blood adds emotional depth to what could have been a simple, bad choice, storyline. Conclusion: Henry's horrible humanity. Henry's horrible mistake in Outlander, Blood of My Blood is more than a plot point, it is the beating heart of the prequel's narrative engine. It is a reminder that the Fraser legacy is not one of perfection, but of struggle, passion, and the constant tension between right and wrong. The cast and creators, in framing Henry's choice as the act of someone, not in his right mind, invite audiences to wrestle with questions of compassion, accountability, and growth. And perhaps that is the greatest gift of this storyline, not the mistake itself, but the uncomfortable, necessary conversations it sparks about family, forgiveness, and the fragile humanity that defines us all.